Hey, good afternoon, Capricorns. My name is Anne, and welcome to This Old Goat Tarot. This is an intuitive reading for Capricorns, and I am an intuitive tarot reader. I just kind of look at what the cards provide, and I share what Spirit has to offer to me. And that goes to show that today's a very special day. It is the Vernal Equinox as of 5:01 a.m. this morning, Eastern Standard Time. Right now it's 4:54 Eastern Standard Time in the evening, March 20th. Not only is it the Vernal Equinox, the beginning of spring, it also is the beginning of Aries season. So Aries season is a time for action, a time for change. The Aries archetype is another fellow cardinal sign. So while Aries is considered, from an elemental perspective, a fire sign, it is also considered a cardinal sign, and that is something that we have in common. Cardinal signs mark the beginning of a new point in the calendar year, of beginning a new season in terms of fall, winter, spring, summer. And so while Capricorns mark the beginning of winter, the actual Aries season begins the beginning of spring. So it is a time for action, and a lot of things are happening at this time of year. We're moving on from the winter, and there's so much happening in our skies right now. I just thought it was a good opportunity for us to come together today to see what Spirit has to offer us in terms of any messages as we walk into this season. We just came off a major lunation, the full moon in Virgo, but it happened to be a lunar eclipse last week. And on March 29th, we will have another eclipse, but it's not a lunation, it's a solar eclipse. So lots going on right now, and it is a time of change. And I don't know if you're feeling it as well as I am. It's a time that, new things, ideas that we may have planted, we've sown, we've thought about over the past few months. Now is the time that things are coming to life, things are coming to action. And so let's together today see what Spirit has to offer us in terms of any messages that as a Capricorn collective need to know. The other thing I should share is that I myself am a Capricorn sun, so I just feel more connected at this point from an intuitive perspective to the Capricorn community, and that could be any of your signs, rising, sun, moon, Venus, North Node, etc. So if there's something here, if you have a Capricorn placement, there might be some message here for you. There might be a message here if you're a cross watcher. Welcome. As we go together today, I really appreciate and I just want to express my gratitude for your energy as you listen. If something does resonate, it would really help me and my channel in terms of the algorithm. I hate to say it, that's what we live by today. To hit that like and subscribe button. And if anything, thank you just for being here and holding space over the next half hour or so. And let's begin. So today is March 20th, 2025. From a numerology perspective, if you add all those numbers up and reduce it down, it does come to a 5. So I have shuffled these cards, each of them 5 times. And 5s are, I find it really interesting that today is a 5, because a 5 ultimately is about change. It's about transition. It's about an opportunity to let what no longer serves us, but also to take that inspired, that sacred action, and to be able to move forward, to take that first step into a new beginning. So let's see what Spirit has to offer us. I will be pulling my screen down so you can see the cards as they do come out. Let's begin. Okay. Welcome to my table. As you can see, we have all of our elements represented here with us today. I have prayed and meditated on these cards, but I do want to clear the air with you today. Spirit, angels, and guides are our highest and best. What messages do you have for the Capricorn collective as it pertains to this Aries season, as it pertains to the Vernal Equinox? This is a time of change, and I think that any guidance you can provide of the highest and best with clear information will definitely help. I will begin this reading with a loud bell. Like I said, I have shuffled these decks 5 times each, but I will go ahead and cut the decks with you. We're getting Cup of Tea. Go ahead and read from the Green Witches Oracle Deck Guidebook. And as I read the message from the guidebook, I invite you to just look at the imagery of this particular card. It's not just about what's being said, it's also what information can you glean. Maybe it's a thought, maybe it's some sort of confirmation of something that you have seen or today or the past few days or maybe seeing the next few days. That you might find some sort of parallel in your own reality. Patience, reassessment, the card meeting. A cup of tea provides you with a moment of quiet. Savor the process and stay present. This brewing takes time, just as a tricky situation takes time to develop. A quick reaction may not be the way to go. Have patience and let things ripen. Just as an infusion of herbs takes time to come to full potency, magical work rarely provides instantaneous results. Remember, a watch pot never boils. Let it do its work in its own time and trust in your process. Use the time to reflect on the situation and how you feel about it and reassess your perspective. The cup of tea card reminds you that perhaps all is not as it seems. So I think that that's really interesting because we are technically at the beginning of the astrological calendar. It's sort of like a new year, if you will, from a zodiac perspective. Pisces is the end, Aries is the beginning, and we are at the beginning of spring, a time of rebirth, of new beginnings. And there can almost be this pressure because again, it's another cardinal sign, it's fire, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of energy here. But when it comes to this fire, it's oftentimes easy to hit the ground running so fast that all of a sudden, when it comes to a new beginning, something might, all that passion that we may have had a day or so ago, a week or so, a month from now, all of a sudden we go so fast that we're at the point of exhaustion. And I think that this cup of tea is asking us that there is no reason to rush. As we walk into this season, there's no reason that we have to, quote unquote, be in that hustle culture of hitting the ground running all of the time. Because oftentimes when we do that, yes, we have a goal, and especially as Capricorns, we're so used to just marching forward and achieving that goal, especially if we have a plan. But along the way, there's so much opportunity for growth and expansion that we can sort of shortchange ourselves if we're not fully present to enjoy what the season has to offer us. For example, if you happen to be one who likes to garden, and it could be anywhere from just a pot that you have of a succulent at your desk or to a full-blown garden. it's easy to think, oh, I'm going to plant these seeds. I'm going to, water this plant, etc. And things are going to happen. But there's so much that happens along the way of that journey, from the point that you sow those seeds and you see that first shoot of that green coming from the soil. To me, that's so precious. And I know for myself, in the past few years, I have been so caught up in the process of having, quote unquote, to do the sowing process of creating seedlings, that I miss the magic of when that occurs, the excitement, the innocence of a child seeing something that they've planted come to life for the first time. And so I just really invite you to not lose the magic, to take that cup of tea that this is teaching us. And I love the analogy that it was talking about of the herbs that you're sort of drinking it in. I love that analogy because, again, things take time. We need to savor the moment before we move on to the next one, because the opportunity for expansion, of growth on the soul, we're not necessarily growing if we're not actually present in the moment. We're just already in the next moment and the following moment and 2 weeks from now and a month from now. We're so focused on planning all of that the magic sort of transpires before us without us even knowing. So let's keep that in mind. I really like this card to just remind us that even though we are in Aries season, we do need to take a step back and just enjoy the magic. All right, so I do a 3-card spread, and I'm just going to do it basically on my intuition today. See what Spirit has to offer us. Count one more time. This is a newer deck that I haven't used before. If you're new to my channel. All right. In recent past, we have the Star. Current energy, we have the Tower. And we actually have the 10 of Wands and future outcome. And bottom of the deck, we have the 4 of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite cards. Let's talk about this for a minute. So the 4 of Pentacles is traditionally associated with stability. And there is a shadow side, and there is more of a growth side to this card as well. The growth side is, especially as Capricorns, like the idea of the need, and almost our lifeblood is this need for stability, structure. And that is just in our DNA. On the shadow side, though, we can almost hold on to things a little too tightly. So perhaps, as we're reflecting upon these 2 messages here in today's reading around the cup of tea and the need to just take a pause and to enjoy the moment, especially in between this eclipse, we are in eclipse season, between the lunation as well as the solar eclipse that is upcoming. I think that we really should think about what it is that we're holding on to, and take that cup of tea, and is it giving us the same taste as it used to? Of whatever practices, maybe they're spiritual practices, perhaps it is healthcare routines, perhaps it is religious routines. Is it giving us the same pleasure? Is it giving us the same happiness? Does it taste the same? Or has it changed to a point that it's become bitter, cold? I think that if that's the case, that maybe we're holding on to it a little too tightly, and it's time to let go and maybe welcome something else. Conversely, perhaps there is an opportunity, especially given that we just had the full moon. We're in the process of integration and doing the work of releasing something, and we're inviting more in. We've made that space already. That opportunity for structure, that opportunity for new routines, something that ignites us, right? Creates that fire inside that was a little spark, but now has the opportunity to become the bonfire. And again, Pentacles represent the material side of life. Could be money, could be finances, it could be your living situation. So I ask that you reflect on this in today's reading. Now, in today's reading, we have the star in recent past. And the stars it's major arcana, we have another major arcana, and then the 10 of Wands. We've had a lot of, if you've listened to my other readings, first of all, thank you for returning. But if you've listened to my other readings, there's been a little bit of synchronicity in terms of a lot of wand energy lately. And I think it's been this preparation, this thing happening in the background as we prepare for Aries, as we've been preparing for Aries season, and now here it is. And we have the Tower here as well. A Tower is an opportunity for change. Something that, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, that we may have been holding on to a little too tightly. We're in a place where it may actually be the universe saying it's time to let go. So whether we've done the work ourselves to actively participate in letting that go, the universe has baked into its programming these eclipses. And it'll eclipse something out. And the full moon in Virgo is all about an opportunity for purification, for cleansing. And so, again, it's not just on the day. It's very, very potent energy that can last up to 2 weeks. And I think what this is saying is it is time. That Tower is coming down in the here and now of that which no longer serves us. So you have this beautiful energy, and some people can, it's oftentimes easy to become fearful of the Tower energy because not everybody welcomes change. I happen to be someone who loves change. I like knowing, but as long as I have some sort of foresight and control of the change. And that's where I am challenged. Because again, Capricorns are a cardinal sign. We're comfortable with change. We're the recipient of all of this energy that had occurred in the fall, and we initiate the winter season. But it's a very controlled season. There's not a lot that happens in the winter. It's just cold. And there's a lot of opportunity for planning in the winter. But here we are. We are now in the spring. And we don't know if the seeds that we've sown are going to sprout. We don't know if it's going to be a season laden with a lot of rain or sunshine. So I think that it's somewhat hard for us as Capricorns sometimes, because while we understand and we welcome change, it comes with conditions. And if the conditions are met, we're completely self-sufficient. But if the conditions are not met, that's where I think the shadow side of this Four of Pentacles comes into play, or where we end up holding on a little too tightly. And that's where this cup of tea is saying it's time for a little self-care, just to trust in the universe, to trust in Source. That Source has our best interests always at play. And we also have here the Ten of Wands over here, which is a fire energy. It is the end. So let's get a little clarification here. Why is the star? Why is the star energy here? I had get a little bit of clarification. Why is the star energy here in recent past? We have the Devil in reverse. We have the Two of Cups. And bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Swords. It's funny, this actually flipped out while I was shuffling. So we know that the Devil is us, major arcana. We know that the Devil, it represents the Capricorn archetype. And again, if you're sort of new to tarot, sometimes these cards can come across as a little abrasive, if you will. But rest assured that the Devil card, it's just an archetype. And there is a shadow and a light side, including the Devil's card to almost every tarot card. And this is in reverse. So in the upright position, sometimes it can be a meaning, and what I'm gathering is sometimes we put ourselves first, and in whatever situation we may have had in the past, we didn't. We may have put our needs. We may put our needs to the side. That's what I'm gathering here. That's why it's in reverse. And I think that it involved another person. It involves someone else. That's why there's that Two of Cups here. And cups represent the water, that particular suit in the minor arcana. Twos are oftentimes a choice or a partnership. So there's someone else here in terms of this star energy. Star is Aquarian energy. It's about hope. It's about a dream, about a wish that is coming to fruition. And just the imagery of this particular card too, it feels very eclipsy to me. I'm seeing simultaneously the full moon eclipse as well as the upcoming solar eclipse here, just given this particular image. So perhaps there was, or there is, some sort of desire that we have, and we put it to the side. We put our own needs to the side for a moment. Instead of, you know, in their upright position, it can be about addictions. It could also be very much about holding on to things a little too tightly. But it could also be about control and structure and predictability. And putting ourselves first in our needs. And in the reverse, it feels as if there was something that we may have made a conscious choice to open ourselves up and to be a little bit more vulnerable. And while the hope, the dream, the wish is something that we own, but it wasn't just ours. It involved someone else. And so we couldn't just think of ourselves in this. We opened up to someone else in this. We shared, there was some sort of vulnerability here, I'm sensing. And it was because of this dream, this wish, this shared vision. And the bottom of the deck was the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is an ending. to completion. There may have been some hard times, some sort of sleepless nights, some sort of stress and anxiety, because that's what the Nine of Swords is all about. But it's come to an end. There's been a death. I'm sensing that was the hope here. That was the hope. We wanted the end to come. And we couldn't get to the end without someone else. Or maybe it was involving someone else. We needed them to stop doing something. Maybe it was something to do with maybe almost a codependency needed to end. It wasn't an equitable relationship, but we weren't ready to completely let go. We wanted the codependency to end. We wanted to be in a true relationship built on love or a partnership, maybe if this is financial leaning for you. And this has been something that's been on our minds for a while. And that came to and I'm not sensing that this was a bad thing. I think it just sort of happened and we didn't realize it. All of a sudden, this is someone we know. This is a partnership. It feels like a significant other that we've been invested in this relationship for quite some time. If you do have a significant other, and the relationship was challenging. It just was this chain where I need you, you need me. Whether it was financially related, could involve a child, custody issues, could involve money. And the chains broke. It's no longer just this quid pro quo situation. There was some coming together, some fulfillment of this wish. We wanted this to resolve itself, and it did. That these chains broke. There was an ending. The sleepless nights, and it involved the other person. It involved us putting sort of our pride. That's what it is. It involved us putting our pride and our needs first, but not in a way that came across as prideful. It I'm doing. It's very. I guess what it is, Capricorn, was it's so easy if you've been in a relationship that has felt very much not equitable, very that your emotional needs were somehow not being met because of this codependency. It's very easy to just get into apathy, resentment, and meanwhile in the background, this hope for a coming together. And the way we got there was this new skill that we have, this new energy to still put ourselves first, but in a way that broke the chains without becoming too self-important. Not self-important, but rather we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable. And this vulnerability of what we needed from them didn't create more control. Didn't say, okay, I want, for example, if it didn't go down this way, it would be like, I need date night every Tuesday, okay? Or I need you to text me good morning to check in on me. We decided to stop with all the conditions. We decided to just lead from the heart space around how we were feeling, and when we did, it actually broke those chains and it created this ending. And I think for some, it it really reignited this relationship, or it's on that point of reigniting. So I really am gathering this from people who are in committed relationships. If you're not, in another way to think about this too could be involving a familial situation. Maybe there was codependency. Again, I'm just definitely hearing the word codependency in some capacity, some sort of frustration, something that gave us angst, and we had this wish. We knew that codependency could no longer continue, but we had a hope that the relationship could move on. So maybe it's a family situation. Sometimes, a brother, a sister, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, where we were putting a little too much of structure, because again, Capricorns can do that, on the relationship, and they needed something from us. That's the key here. That's what created this codependency, is that they needed something from us, and we just all along wanted the emotional connection. And it wasn't that the emotional connection wasn't there, it's that it wasn't at the forefront. It was almost forgotten about. And so maybe we were supporting somebody financially. Perhaps someone was living with us. Again, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. But we kind of we had a good cry. It was an ugly cry, and it was in front of them in a way that just made ourselves super vulnerable, where we let go of the control and just let the water happen. Could have been in this Piscean past. And it came to an abrupt end. The other person got it. And this is fragile. I'm not sensing that this is over. I'm sensing that this is, we feel that we're seeing the spark of this sun. I'm sensing it was actually around the eclipse. But it's fragile. Like there's no secrets anymore. There's no moon card in this situation. It's known. And I think that both parties, you and the other person, everybody wants to make it work. But the question is, I think that there's still questions around, is this star gonna remain? Let's find out. So, Spirit, angels, and guides, why is the Tower here in current energy? Transition energy. The Eight of Cups. Ooh. We have another Tower, so that's a little bit of synchronicity here. We have the Knight of Swords. Ooh. Bottom of the deck, Knight of Swords. I'm still sensing that the situation is stable right now. We have a longing, a hope. And it got to a good place. But right now, there's still some doubts happening. I'm thinking that for a moment, it was like, oh, our hopes of getting to a better place came out after this ugly cry. We had this falling out, but it wasn't a falling out. It was really clearing the air about how everybody feels, how we're not okay. We put ourselves in that position. That's not easy for a Capricorn. And here we are. There's this Tower, and we have another and this Eight of Cups. This Eight of Cups is walking away from something. I think that's what it is, Capricorn. And again, bottom of the deck is the Knight of Swords. This Knight of Swords, this energy is fast moving. He's very brave. It's very action oriented. This energy knows, and like there's sort of no other options in his mind. He just knows he's on this one solo mission and it has to be done. And he's gonna make sure, even if it's a mission, his last mission, he's gonna make sure it gets done. He's very brave. And I think that's what I'm gathering, Capricorn, is that it wasn't enough. This energy is delicate. It's fragile. I think our hopes were initially satisfied, but it wasn't enough, and we can't unsee something. Again, cups are water energy. It's about the emotional side of life. It's about our love. It's about our connection. And the moon is there guiding us. It tells me that, again, there's something here that we had that Ten of Swords, so something came to an end. So the conflict, I think, is over. We're no longer sitting here in this feeling of anger, of angst, because once we let our guard down and we had the ugly cry and we shared that with this person, it stopped. But it's almost like too little too late, and we can't unsee something. And even though the other party is willing to reciprocate, I'm gathering, like, almost like is willing to quote unquote meet our conditions, but we're no longer in a space where we feel that we have to give conditions anymore. That's the issue. I think we shouldn't have to ask for it. That's what I'm gathering, is like we shouldn't have to ask and set all these conditions, because we've evolved to a point where we've grown as a collective. We've grown where we can find ourselves in old patterns of putting conditions and structure on things, but when it comes to this relationship here and connections with others, matters of the heart, I'm sensing that it shouldn't be that much work. They're willing. Before it was lack of a will. There's remorse from the other party, but it's almost just too little, too late. And I think that this Tower energy is this transition. The eclipse is coming here to say it's time to let go of this. This relationship is not serving us. And it doesn't mean a complete goodbye. Perhaps it is a goodbye for you if you are in more of a casual, a connection, a romantic connection that doesn't have a lot of commitment. Perhaps you're just not ready to give more commitment. If you are, though, in a long-term committed love story, or if you are in, if it's not a romantic relationship, it's a friend, could be a family member. Again, we went there. We were vulnerable. We showed our true self, of our true authentic self, to this person, and we know it hit home because they see it now. But it's like we can't unsee something. It's not that we're holding on to the past, and I think that's the Four of Pentacles is here to remind us, like, we can't sit and hold on to those experiences that were heartbreaking, that maybe they overlooked us, treated us as an option. It's not that. I think that is energy and resentment, especially if the other person is showing contrition. It's more I'm gathering more for, and this could be a very specific message for somebody, but I'm gathering it's more of a situation where they're giving us their all, but it's just not enough for us. They want the conditions. They're conditioned for conditions from us. Like, just tell me what you need me to do. I still love you. And it's like, well, I shouldn't have to tell you. You should know. You should have been paying attention to me. That's what I'm gathering. And again, we have this Knight of Swords. So it's like, there's a clarity here. We shouldn't have to work that hard. It should be easy. All right, let's see what this Ten of Wands is telling us. Why is the Ten of Wands here? Two of Wands. King of Cups. We've got the Three of Wands in reverse. Whew. There's a lot of wand energy here. So this Ten of Wands energy, again, another ending. There's some sort of something to do with work or a responsibility, some sort of obligation. This is heavy energy. I think that we're going through the Tower, and I think that what we see over here, or like we're sitting on this tower and we're falling right now, and we're walking away. We know in our heart it's the right thing. We're trying to let go, but this is heavy because there's some, whatever connection this is, it's not without some sort of strings. Okay, maybe it involves a pet, children, finances, mixed, a property, a business. So we can't just like completely like run away. I think it's complicated. It's definitely complicated. And this Two of Wands here is that there's something that we know that that we have to learn from this. There's something that we're going through the motions. This is new territory. This is something, whatever is being is changing, is transforming. There's something for us. I think the guidance here from Spirit is saying that there's something to be learned. The Two of Wands to me is very much like a student of the cosmos. He's got the world in his hands. He's looking outwards. And the other guidance, which is this King of Cups, is just energy where it's like he's not allowing himself to dwell on woulda, coulda, shoulda, or the heartache. He's sort of allowing that water to just move on. But not in a way that's vindictive. Not in a way that is with any sort of regret or resentment. Rather, it's just very mature, very in control, very I'm ready. And that's what I'm gathering, where we are not the same Capricorns that we were last year. There's something that, again, the old Capricorn, this would have been upright. This would have been, you're not doing this for me. This relationship is no longer working. I need you to be here. I need you to step it up. I need you to participate in the finances. I need you to get a job. I need you to check in on me. and you're not doing XYZ. And we would have laid out all those conditions. And this person expects that because that was the old Capricorn. Instead, we just had this ugly cry, and it just all came out of like how much we miss them, how we want this relationship to work, about how much we love them, but we just don't feel that we're in love necessarily, or how we feel as if we'll hurt somehow taken advantage of if it's not a romantic relationship. And they heard the message, but I don't know if they're equipped necessarily. They're expecting us to give us the rubrics, the conditions to move forward. And it's just sort of like, we're done. It's too little too late. We're walking away. And the old Capricorn would have been all of a sudden laying out all these conditions to somebody who's receptive of it now. But the issue is that we're not just looking for somebody to meet those conditions. We're looking for somebody who's adaptable, who's ready to, who's open to proactively getting to know us and what our needs are emotionally. That's the gap. That's what we're looking for, plus all of the above. And the King of Cups is not sitting here with any sort of blame. There's no blame. It's just an acknowledgement that we're in a new place now. We've come to an end, and that's the Ten of Wands. We're ready to put down these wands. We're comfortable with this. There's this heartache that we're maybe processing now because we're done, and but we're making an active choice to move on. And he's moving forward. He's not looking back, but it's not in a vindictive way. We still hold love for this party, this other person. It's just we're just acknowledging that we have outgrown it. That's what it feels like. We very much outgrown it, and that's where this observation is coming in. This student vibe I'm getting from this Two of Wands. We're learning something from this, that we have become, and we're sort of stepping back outside of ourselves and being like, oh my gosh, this is not who I am anymore. So Capricorn, if this is you, this is some heavy energy. But the bottom of the deck, we're showing this Three of Wands in reverse. And the Three of Wands energy is ultimately optimistic, it's hopeful. But if it's in reverse, I think Spirit's trying to say that it's not going to be an easy path in the near term. But ultimately, it's about you. It's about your whole true authentic self. Like, you can't be you and a whole human, a whole person, if you're sort of stuck in who you were at the beginning of the relationship, or at the beginning of who, like, this person, you might even live with them and they're still attached to that version of you, and you have changed and you're a new person, and it's just almost as if they can't see that. They're still stuck in who you were, and so I think it's just a time to hold space, to drink that cup of tea, and ask yourself really closely about this relationship. Are we holding on? And is it the right choice? And it doesn't mean you have to, like, break up, kick somebody out of your house, disown somebody. I think what it's saying is maybe it's time to reevaluate your investment in the relationship and hold space for the fact that you've changed, and making that very clear. And either they're gonna come and they're going to eventually, it's gonna be hard, so it's like right fitting themselves to the new you, And either they're going to recognize that, and that's where that Tower energy also could exist. And that's where, again, this Two of Wands is there. They're learning and you're learning, and you're sort of adapting to, maybe you both changed. Or maybe you have outgrown it. So, in the next week or so, we are at a point of new beginnings. Hold yourself in this energy. Don't feel like you have to rush it. You don't have to make any rash decisions. But what you can do is you can look back at how far you've come with gratitude and grace. That for yourself and the other party. But don't go back. You don't need to go backwards in order for you and the other person to work. Either they're gonna change their frequency to who you are now, or you both will be able to adapt together to this change, or you won't. And that's where letting go of one of those pentacles makes sense. So this is really Spirit's call to reassess the relationships in your life. So heavy energy is Capricorns, but please take care of yourself in this season. Making sure you're getting all of the vitamins you need, hydrating well, walking out into nature, taking whatever you need to create this space of pause and reflection. The other thing to note is Mercury is in retrograde. It is designed for us to be and to hold ourselves in this space of reevaluation. Mercury in retrograde gets a bad rap because you shouldn't be making rash decisions at this point in time. It's because it is, again, another sort of baked in cadence with the cosmos for us, from an astrological perspective, for us to do these self-evaluations and to really take stock of how far we've come. And based on how far we've come, do we have to do any house cleaning? Whether it's career, money, family, relationships, etc. So thank you so much for joining. I think I'll leave it here. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate if you come this far listening. And if it did resonate in some way, please hit that like and subscribe button. I typically do a few readings a week. And by request, I'm happy to do a personal reading for you. I would record it just as we are now. Just let me know, just drop me a DM. Thank you so much. And with that, have a great evening, Capricorns.